right, you guys, welcome back to Besa. I'm your host, Besa Gordon, and as you know, the other day I was at the Winter Classic living my best life, but I didn't do it alone, which is why I could not recap what went down alone. Today, I am joined by my buddy, Charles Hamaker of Circling Seattle Sports.
Besa, it's great to be here with you. Still thinking about everything that went down at T-Mobile Park.
Yo, that was a vibe. I feel like the energy in there was so electric, you literally had to, like you could see it, you know, people were talking about but you could feel the energy in there.
It was definitely a once in a lifetime experience, and it was incredible all that we got to do, all that you and I shared, and just the memories that will, live a lifetime, because this is a once in a lifetime event.
No, absolutely. Now, one memory that you have that I didn't get to experience was actually seeing the ballpark go from ballpark to ice rink. What was that like?
It was really unique to be at T-Mobile Park from late December all the way up to game day to see there was just no rink there. There was no boards, no nothing. They had to put out these ice pans so that we could actually get the ice surface. Then you watch things like the boards go up, the glass, and just the rest of the scenery around it until there was no ballpark grass. You and I, we're used to seeing the ballpark and the grass and baseball. It's all gone. It was pretty wild to see the NHL put together an event like this in our home ballpark.
No, absolutely. And they did it so effortlessly and they did it so quickly. And I don't know, it almost looked like a TV set.
They have it down to a science now. They bring the NHL refrigeration truck around and set that all up. And from what the players said, the ice was just an ideal condition, so they had no problems with it. It sounded like it all went very smoothly. So Besa, while I was at the ballpark, seeing it all get prepared for the game itself, you were over at the Enterprise Fan Village checking out the United by Hockey trailer. Now, what was that like?
You know what's fun? Okay, so I checked it out for the first time last February for Black Hockey Night, but it was different because that night was my first time ever going to a hockey game, so I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous moving around, didn't really know what was going on. As close as I am to Fitz now, I'd never met him before, so I kind of like peeked in there and was just like, okay. But this time I actually had the pleasure of getting a tour of it by Kwame Mason, who was actually one of the co-creators of United by Hockey, and he actually created Soul on the Ice. Hey guys, Besa Gordon here. Dude, we are at the NHL Museum right about now, and I'm with my buddy Kwame. Kwame, tell us what's going on today.
This is the NHL United by Hockey Mobile Museum. It's a very interactive experience for all fans who come and check this out in Seattle at the Winter Classic. We've got a lot of great exhibits, a lot of great stories to tell, and we're just really happy that Seattle has brought us in to share this experience.
We have a lot of brown faces here.
We do.
And the thing with NHL is that there's not a lot of brown faces that are front-facing within the NHL.
Right.
Why was that so important for you? Because I see my buddy Fitz right there.
It's really important because if you see it, you could be it. And one of the biggest things for me personally is the next generation of kids who love the game of hockey and want to be a part of it. And they need to see these people because they can see that they are not just at low levels, they are very high positioned people in the world of hockey. And when you learn about their stories, it might inspire somebody to want to follow in their footsteps.
As someone of color, how did you get into hockey?
I'm from Toronto, so if you know anybody from Canada, we're either born with a hockey stick or if you come in there, they'll give you a hockey stick. I grew up, loving the game, played, and then later on in life, I directed a documentary called Soul on Ice, Past, Present, and Future, which is about the history and contributions of Black athletes in the game of hockey that dated from the late 1800s to our present day.
I went to my first hockey game just this last February.
Right.
And it was new for me, but I was like, I don't really know if I belong here. I don't really know if this is for me. And then once I came, I was like, this is for everybody. What would you say to people of color to make them realize or just feel that they are welcome?
You expand your horizons by taking chances and going and seeing different things. And just because you don't see as many people that look like you in a space doesn't mean you're not allowed to be in that space. And I encourage people of color to go and check out hockey. And you're probably the perfect example. When you got there and you sat there and you watched that game, I'm sure you were like, man, this is something I love to watch.
Facts. Last thing, anything else you want for people to know about the museum?
Well, go to NHL.com to find out a little bit more about the museum. And while you're here in Seattle for Winter Classic, come down, experience it for yourself. It's going to be here all weekend, and it's going to be one of the best things you've seen besides the game.
Awesome! Thank you so much, Kwame.
You're so welcome.
I appreciate you. All right, now, while I was over there roaming around United by Hockey, the Winter Classic wasn't just in Seattle. I saw that there was something that went down in Tacoma. What was that about?
So the Kraken, the NHL, the One Roof Foundation, and Virginia Mason Franciscan Health all joined forces together to head down to Tacoma to the Verlo playfield. Now, they refurbished that playfield to be able to help continue to grow the game and show their commitment to growing the game in this region, especially Tacoma. So whether you don't have access to rinks or equipment, anything like that, everybody can come out to this playfield and be able to experience hockey and ball hockey, anything like that, to really just continue to grow the game of hockey as the Kraken, the NHL, grow that commitment to the game in this area.
I love that. And by the way, guys, we actually have a segment of that. So if you didn't get a chance to check out what went down in Tacoma, let's check it out.
This morning we are at just a quintessential Pacific Northwest morning down in Verlo Park in Tacoma, celebrating the groundbreaking for what will be the new multi-sport court down here, which is a partnership between Tacoma Metro Parks, Virginia Mason Franciscan Health, One Roof Foundation, the Seattle Kraken, and the National Hockey League.
The City of Tacoma partners with Metro Parks on many, many projects, but this one is really, really exciting because of its connection with the NHL and the Kraken, and everyone's excited about hockey. I grew up playing hockey, so I'm excited to see it here in Tacoma. I'm excited to get out there and play.
The NHL and the Kraken really value the expansion of the sport, and Metro Parks is really involved and really devoted to creating opportunities across the whole city, especially in underserved areas.
When you go into a lot of communities, you don't see a lot of people of color playing hockey. It's about going into Tacoma. It's about going into South Park. It's about going into communities that have not gotten a lot of attention and going in there and being intentional, making sure that everybody in our town, in our area, has access to hockey.
Kids need to have fun. As a dad, I know my kids love having fun, and this is an opportunity for kids here to engage in something outdoors, to get physically active. Whether you make the NHL or whether you just play street hockey, what you remember is the friendships and really the camaraderie you build through sport. That's the foundation of a lot of our childhoods, and when you really look back on life, I mean, that's what's important. You have to have a good place and a safe place to be able to do that. The type of infrastructure that is fun and feel cool at, it's special, it means something.
I'm hoping the first Tacoma native to play for the Seattle Kraken is on that court right now. That is what I want this legacy to be.
To me, the long-term impact is that it's people that are falling in love with our sport, yes, but they're also just making friends and creating their own set of memories that they're going to take through life.
It's not just about being physically active, it's about experiencing joy and connection. It's about learning about teamwork and commitment and resilience, and literally and metaphorically, how to get up after you fall down. And these are all the things that help our young people become physically, mentally, and emotionally healthier and stronger. And that is what we hope this sport court will do.
So Besa, while the Kraken had their practice day the day before the Winter Classic itself, there was the food preview. Sodexo Live curated a special menu for this event. I know when we had All-Star Week here in Seattle, you guys got to go out there and check that out, go out to the head chef and go out and see all of the wonderful food there. And I know you like to check some of that out. Can you tell me a little bit more about the food preview and everything that you saw and tasted?
The food preview was a vibe. First of all, you know I love to eat, okay? Anything that has to do with food, I'm there. Like what, food preview? I will be there and I will make time for it. It was actually really, really dope to check in with Chef Javier Rosa. It's always nice to see him. I even got a little selfie with him. And the food was actually really good. I'm not gonna hold you. I think my favorite thing, surprisingly, was the crab pizza.
I agree.
Like, I kept going back for that pizza. And then also, I'm not a big pork belly slider fan, but I really, really like that. The clam chowder was a vibe. And then also, what was it, like coconut hot chocolate?
Special hot chocolate? Oh yeah, no, that was excellent.
I'm not gonna hold you. I went online and I was like, okay, let's see what's going to be part of this food preview. And I saw coconut hot chocolate and I was like, now why would you do that? I understand why they did that now. Did you have a favorite food that you ate?
Crab, like you said, with the crab pizza, I had that first one and I looked back at the table. I said, well, they got a few more over there. I don't think they'd mind if I went back for a second one, right? The coconut, like you said too, I have a little bit of a specific palate, but it flowed really well. It wasn't too in your face, and especially on a cold day like the Winter Classic, perfect sort of drink to get you all warmed up.
No, absolutely. Like I was very pleasantly surprised, and now I'm like, now let me go back online and figure out exactly who makes that because I want some more. And I'm not gonna hold you. I am hoping that they do keep some of these specialty items for, like, you know, when baseball comes back. Now, there is more, and that is the actual game. That game was legendary. Chuck, let everybody know who wasn't there. What went down the day the Kraken officially hit the ice?
Well, you know, everybody had been worried about the conditions of the weather, whether or not the roof, retractable roof at T-Mobile Park would be open. Thankfully, the fog burned off and we had an excellent setting for a great game between the two youngest franchises in the NHL. The Kraken shut out the Golden Knights by a score of 3-0. Joey Decord, your Kraken goaltender, recorded 35 saves in a shutout. That's the first shutout in Winter Classic history. So a historic event, a once-in-a-lifetime event. Seattle keeps rolling. They're on a 5-game winning streak. So they're red hot right now. And they come into 24 playing really well, structured. They look like the Kraken we saw a little bit last season.
Now, speaking of that, say the Kraken win all of their games this month. What does that mean for them?
Well, they had a tough start to the season. They dug themselves a little bit of a hole as, you know, they brought a few new faces in and you got to find your mojo again, right? But they're just a point out of a playoff spot. If they can continue things rolling here as we approach a big road trip for them, they're right in the thick of it. You know, their division, it's a tough division. Vegas is in it, the team they just beat. But if they can continue this positive momentum, they're going to find themselves in a great spot to close out the next few months of this regular season.
Now, what if they lose one of their games this month?
I wouldn't say it's the worst thing in the world. It's dependent on how that game would go. If they're nice and tight and they're right there and they just, you know, one critical mistake, that's fine. That's what was happening earlier in the year. They finally broke through though. They were knocking on the door. They finally found the way to open it up, and you're seeing that success now. So I'd say it depends on how that game goes, but if it's a progress loss, you know what I mean? I feel okay with that because you know, you're not gonna win them all, unfortunately. But this team showed great progress, even in a few of the losses. The overtime losses, you still get a point in hockey. So their point streaks at 9 games, if they can keep that rolling, they'll be in good shape.
And then really quick while I have you here, do you have anything you want to say to your fellow Huskies?
Oh man, you know, it's been really exciting to watch the Huskies keep going and play in the national championship. Made Monday even better, a great day for sports in the city of Seattle. I'm just excited to keep it going. I know there's a few Michigan fans around the press corps in the Kraken. Everett was kind of talking to me about that this morning, but you know, all I can say is go Dogs.
Period. All right, you guys, I definitely want to thank you for joining me to go over the Winter Classic. Chuck, real quick, let everybody know how they can keep up with you and all of your amazing sports coverage.
Well, to keep up to date with all of our Seattle professional sports, just search up on your favorite social media, whether that's Twitter or Instagram or even Facebook, Circling Seattle Sports. Every pro team in Seattle, but especially the Kraken right now, as they look to dig themselves back out of the hole they created early and get into a playoff spot.